and through the legs and shit like that when I couldn't even dunk back in the day. Well, I started slow. I put that wrestling mat there and I started jumping off the mat. I started dunking with my friends. This shit was fun as fuck. I learned how to dunk. I was way too short to dunk, but by the time I was tall enough and I was strong enough to jump, dude, I already knew how to do these moves and stuff because I used the mat before or I lowered the hoop, you know? So repetition, 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 repetition. That's all I've ever done. It all started with sports, dude. I know it's militant. It's militant. Sports are militant, especially when you get to a high level, like a college level, bro. I swear to God, if I did not hoop, bro, I wouldn't have learned this mentality, dude. My idol was Kobe, bro. So, you know, of course, repetition is key. That man did not do anything except for hoop and get better and better and better. And I did that for years and years. I got paid, bro. I got paid. That's fire. I got free school and I got paid off repetition. So I'm just kind of recreating that here in this different in this new world, this new nerd world. But I've always been a nerd, bro. It'd be hoop and then I go home and game or I sit on my laptop. So yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but let's go ahead and read this. Let's see here first. I just want to ping brains sometimes. That's all. Feel free to ping me in the chat, Kyler Davis. Yeah, Kyler's a real one, bro. Yeah, Moon. BitTensor is definitely fucking dope. Thank you, dude. Somebody just introduced me here to it today. I've heard a few people out here in Puerto Rico talk about it, but they essentially said it was like AI, the AI exposure that they have, and I just faded it because there's plenty of other Solana stuff going on. But as tides change, I move. I move, baby. What do you use for the voice text, Sir Dev? This is called. God, I need to figure out what the name is called. To be honest, Flow something. Called Whisper Flow. Whisper Flow. This one right here, dude. It's fucking fire. It's probably the most fire use case I've seen in a while. Whisper Flow, not voice flow. Whisper Flow. Your models develop to your hardware. I guess I'm still grasping. Me too, dude. And every subnet has a purpose. Like there's one for price prediction. I'm very curious about the subnets, what they look like. Let's read through what ChatGPT said based off the white paper, and then let's read the white paper, and then we'll watch some more videos. There's a 2-hour training on how to do this, so maybe I'll watch that if I get convinced. I'm still not fully convinced, dude. I'm not fully convinced, but every single thing that's happened in crypto has come through this chat. And it's Stony Sunday, bro. It's Sunday fun day. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dive into BitTensor, okay? It reasons for 12 seconds. Here's a breakdown in plain English, step by step. What is BitTensor? Imagine a huge decentralized market for artificial intelligence. Instead of one big company deciding which AI is best by testing them on a single task like image recognition, BitTensor creates a system where lots of different AI models, we'll call them peers, work together and even judge each other. They all earn rewards, tokens, or stake based on how much they contribute to the overall network's performance. How do the peers work? Well, the basics of an AI model. Think of an AI model as a function that takes in data like images and text and gives an output like prediction. Like each peer is one of these functions, training on data. Each peer learns by looking at its own set of examples, its data set, and trying to improve how well it works. They all try to minimize loss, a measure of how wrong they are. The network of peers. There are many peers connected in a network. They share information with each other so that every peer can learn not only from its own data, but also from what other peers produce. Okay. So I'm kind of understanding it. I think what's going to help a lot is going through the different use cases to fully understand it. Ranking and rewarding peers, peer ranking. Instead of using a single test score, peers evaluate one another. They vote on the value of each other's outputs by assigning scores. If removing a peer makes the network perform much worse, that peer is considered very important. Incentives and stake. The network keeps track of a stake for each peer on a digital ledger, like a blockchain. The more useful a peer is, the more stake or tokens it earns. This stake not only shows its value, but also gives it more influence in the network. Why it matters. Rewarding based on contribution means that even smaller or older models can be valuable if they add something unique to the overall intelligence of the network. Preventing cheating and collusion. The problem of collusion. What if a group of peers start voting for each other just to pump up their values without really helping the network? That's collusion, and it would ruin the system. Consensus mechanism. To stop this, BitTensor uses a consensus mechanism or a system. Each peer gets a bonus if many other peers, ideally more than 50% of the network stake, trust it. This bonus is calculated with a smooth sigmoid function. Like, think of it like a ramp that only starts giving extra points once you've trusted by enough people. Nonlinear rewards. The rewards are designed to increase super linearly. This means that if you're trusted by the honest majority, your rewards increase much faster than those of a small group trying to collude. Bonds, investing in each other. What are bonds? In addition to stake, peers can form bonds with one another. Imagine it like a mini investment. If you believe another peer will do well, you can bond with it. If that peer later becomes valuable, your own rewards get a boost too. Speculative rewards. This system encourages peers not just to vote for themselves, but to invest in the peers they think will be useful in the future. How the network runs, data sharing. Each peer sends out batches of its data to its neighbors in the network. The peer respond with their own outputs, and these responses are then used to update everyone's models. Learning to connect. As a network grows, it might become too heavy to talk to every peer all the time. So they use a method called conditional computation, where a peer learns which other peers are most relevant for a given task, like a smart directory, and only connects you to the people who can help the most. Standardization of data. For smooth cooperation, all peers agree on a
You have
common
to, in
way.
a business like this, just keep making things better, keep improving the system, because other parts of it are going to wear out after a while. People will catch on to this or they'll catch on to that. So you just have to, like in any business, you just have to make things better and better and better, because that's what everyone else is trying to do.
Yo, so I like this idea. If this is big enough to actually be a trade, okay, I'm thinking pie in the sky. I'm thinking next Bitcoin, not my words, but Maddie's, and that's fine. I like the bias. That's what I'm leaning into right now. Okay, but what I like about this is you can get exposure to crypto based off of US assets, meaning I can use a debit card linked to my bank to pay for the VPS or the GPUs, and now I'm turning cash, cash or credit into crypto. I always like those types of arbs because credit is so easy to get here in America. It's so easy to get. And that's why I will never fade America. I will never give up my passport. I will never move to Dubai. I'll never leave this great country because we have such a privilege in our banking system, dude. To be able to like hit zero, you could be so down bad and still make it in America because you can go get a credit card for $5,000, and if you know how to code, dude, you can turn that 5,000 into anything. That's what I love. That's what I love about America, bro. Our credit system. It's also very dangerous if you're not a builder. Because, if you're just a girl that's uses their credit card to buy a bunch of shit and you get a bunch of debt, that's not too good. But if you're a builder, dude, if you're an entrepreneur, you can turn credit into anything. I don't know about you, but that's how I won. That's how I won when I was 18. I don't know why they gave me, when I went to college, the college I went to, I went and got I went to the local bank, dude, in the middle of the country, too. In the middle of the country, dude. Not even on the west, not even on the east. No way. Hmm. They gave me 15 G's on a limit at 18. I'm like, what? I've never seen this. I've never seen this much cake before. I can run it up. And then I just built. I hired people, of course. So I had to go into debt in my first business, dog. But I just kept building and it worked. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was like growing up in Pakistan or some shit. So I'm so grateful for just being born here. That I hate when I see Americans get all like, oh, blah blah blah, America's not great, yada yada. It is great, and people would die to live here, dude. So I'll never give that up. Knowledge extraction, distillation. Why distillation? Sometimes you want a smaller, faster model that can work on its own offline without needing to constantly chat with the whole network. How it works. A smaller student model learns to mimic the behavior of the entire network by watching how the network responds. This process is called distillation, and it helps you take the collective intelligence and pack it down into a simpler form. Overall goal, BitTensor is essentially creating a self-organizing, self-rewarding ecosystem of AIs. It monetizes AI contributions. Individual researchers or developers, that's us, can earn tokens for their models, encourages diversity. It rewards not just the best model on one narrow task, but any model that adds useful, unique knowledge, prevents manipulation. Through consensus and nonlinear reward structures, it makes it hard for dishonest groups to game the system. Supports scalability, by standardizing inputs and outputs and using conditional computation, it can grow to include many different types of data and models. Collusion, in simple terms. Imagine two groups. Group one, Group A is honest, and Group B is trying to cheat by boosting each other's scores. How rewards work. Group A has more than half of the total trust and stake. They'll get rewarded much more than Group B. Over time, Group B's share of the reward shrinks unless they start including more honest peers. In summary, BitTensor proposes a new way to create, share, and reward AI. It lets AIs judge each other and earn rewards based on how much they help the overall system. By using clever methods to prevent cheating and by encouraging models to invest in one another, it builds a decentralized intelligence marketplace. This way, many different kinds of AI can thrive together, and everyone from big companies to individual developers can develop from contributing to a common, ever improving pool of machine intelligence. I hope this clears things up. Once you read the full paper, these key ideas will make a lot more sense. Do you have any sense of how much BitTensor you can earn per month or per day or per year? I want to make sure this is a big enough opportunity to actually attack. Also, do you think this is a directional trade? Meaning, are we mining Bitcoin at $2, hoping it's going to 100,000? And or do you think this is a profitable endeavor to just arbitrage right now, meaning mine and then sell the BitTensor? Or do you think it's directional? I'm just trying to get a grasp on how big this opportunity may be, because I don't want to push resources towards it if it's not fairly large. All right, let's see here. And every subnet has a purpose, like there's one for price prediction. So theoretically, we could create an algo trading focused subnet. Interesting, dude. It's Stony Sunday. It's Sunday fun day. Time to learn about BitTensor, bro. Sounds as excited as Christmas morning. I love Sundays, dude. It's hard to pin down exact numbers right now because the rewards you earn depend on a lot of factors like how much computing power and stake you contribute, how many other peers you're competing with, and how the network's overall growth and trust dynamics evolve. Right now, the white paper doesn't provide a you'll earn X tokens per day, month, year figure. That said, here are a few points to consider. Dynamic rewards. Your earnings come from how much your node or AI model contributes to the network. if your node is trusted by a large portion of the network, meaning it's really useful, you'll earn more. But if you're in a crowded part of the network, the rewards might be spread thinner. Directional versus arbitrage, directional trade. Many see this as a long-term bet on the network's success, similar to how early Bitcoin miners held on to their coins, hoping they'd appreciate massively. If you believe the network grows and the token becomes more valuable over time, then you're in for a directional play. Arbitrage opportunity. On the other hand, if you're looking at a short-term term strategy, mine tokens and sell them immediately for a profit, that's more like arbitrage. At this stage, there's less clarity on short-term price dynamics, and it might be riskier to try and capture an immediate profit. Risk and uncertainty, just like with emerging crypto projects, the real yield, both in terms of tokens and their market value, will only become clear once the network is fully operational and a larger number of peers are participating. Early estimates are highly speculative. Bottom line, if you're considering putting resources into BitTensor, think of it more like a long-term directional investment, betting on the network's future value rather than a guaranteed steady arbitrage play. If you believe in the potential of a decentralized AI market and the network's growth, then it could be a big opportunity. But if you need a predictable near-term return, the uncertainties might be too high at this point. Always remember that these kinds of projects carry risk, so it's more important to do further research and consider your own risk tolerance. Okay, so this is a directional play. This is a directional play, so I really need to be tau pilled in order to contribute. Because, dude, there's two things you can do here, right? If you truly believe that this is the next Bitcoin, just fucking buy it. You know? That's easy. Also, if you think it's the next Bitcoin, you better fucking mine it. That's easy for us, at least. It's probably not going to be easy. I don't want to say it's going to be easy. But we're developers, we're data dogs, and we got the sauce, bro. We got the sauce, bro. So, I don't know. I'm not fully tau pilled yet. So, I'm still doing research here. And this is obviously a very competitive thing to mine because if it's free money is very competitive. Let's read the BitTensor, a peer-to-peer intelligence market. This is the white paper. Louis says, do it for research. Yes, dude. We're going to learn something, that's for sure. Maddie says, decentralized mines. Check the documentary for the tau pill. BitTensor documentary. This one right here?
He had a great quote that said, rest at the end, not in the middle. And that's something I always live by. You know, I'm not going to rest. I'm going to keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have, even questions that I don't have. But I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going, and I'll figure these things out as you go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time.
Rest at the end.
Rest at the end.
2.5 months, 1 million, 3.5 years. Netflix, days to 1 million. Instagram, days to 1 million. ChatGPT, okay, tease me more, come on. Days to 1 million. OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, and AWS dominate 84% of the generative AI market. 90% of global media is owned by 6 companies. 90% of US telecom is owned by 3 companies. 90% of global credit card transactions are handled by Visa and MasterCard outside China. Centralization by big tech invades privacy, amplifies biases, and concentrates power. Super nerdy so far.
That humanity believes is our pinnacle element.
I'm not about to watch that right now. I'm about to read this. As with other commodities, markets could help us efficiently produce machine intelligence. We propose a market where intelligence is priced by other intelligence systems peer to peer across the network. Peers rank each other by training neural networks which learn the value of their neighbors. Scores accumulate on a digital ledger where high ranking peers are monetarily rewarded with additional weight in the network. However, this form of peer ranking is not resistant to collusion, which could disrupt the accuracy of the mechanism. The solution is an incentive mechanism that maximally rewards honestly selected weights, making the system resistant to collusion of up to 50% of the network weight. The result is collectively run intelligence market that continually produces newly trained models and pays contributors who could create the information theoretic value. Okay, okay. Introduction. The production of machine intelligence has come to rely mostly entirely on a system of benchmarking where machine learning models are trained to perform well on narrowly defined supervised problems. While this system works well for pushing the performance on these specific problems, the mechanism is weak in situations where the introduction of markets would enable it to excel. For example, intelligence is increasingly becoming untethered from specific objectives and becoming a commodity that one, expensively mined from data, two, monetarily valuable, three, transferable, and four, generally useful. Measuring its production with supervised objectives does not directly reward the commodity itself and causes the field to converge towards narrow specialists. Moreover, these objectives do not have the resolution to reward niche or legacy systems. Thus, what is not currently state of the art is lost. Ultimately, the proliferation of diverse intelligence systems is limited by the need to train large monolithic models to succeed in a winner take all competition. Standalone engineers cannot directly monetize their work. And what results is centralization, where a small set of large corporations control access to the best artificial intelligence, like OpenAI. A new commodity needs a new type of market. This paper suggests a framework in which machine intelligence is measured by other intelligence systems. Models are ranked for informational production regardless of the subjective task or data set used to train them. By changing the basis against which machine intelligence is measured, the market can reward intelligence that is applicable to a much larger set of objectives. Legacy systems can be monetized for their unique value, and three, smaller diverse systems can find niches within a much higher resolution reward landscape. The solution is a network of computers that share representations continuously and asynchronously peer to peer across the internet. The constructed market uses a digital ledger to record ranks and to provide incentives to peers in a decentralized manner. The chain measures trust, making it difficult for peers to attain rewards without providing value to the majority. Researchers can directly monetize machine intelligence work, and consumers can directly purchase it. Interesting, dude. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, here's the tough part, bro. We begin with an abstract definition of intelligence, Hinton et al. In the form of parameterized function trained over a dataset d equals xy to minimize the loss. Our network is composed of n functions, peers, where each is holding 0 or more network weights s stake represent on a digital ledger. These functions, together with losses in their proper proportion of stake, represent a stake weighted machine learning objective. Our goal is the distribution of stake I as an incentive to peers who have helped minimize the loss objective, and importantly, in such a way that it is difficult for a small proportion of stake to collude as means to maximize their distribution in the network without minimizing the loss. In this paper, we suggest this can be achieved through peer ranking, where peers use the outputs as inputs to themselves and learn the weights, where peer I is responsible for setting the ith row through transactions on a digital ledger. Setting weights using an Fisher's information pruning score, LeCun et al. In the ranking calculation achieves an idealized scoring where each peer's incentive is equivalent to its pruning score, the cost and entropy induced by removing it from the network. However, this approach is not resistant to collusion where peers vote for themselves, notably instead of using and set weights to enhance their own inflation at the expense of the network. This attack is trivial since the digital ledger cannot audit the parameters of each model, only the intermodel weights, W. We extended the naive ranking method to evade collusion with an incentive function, which limits reward to peers that have not reached consensus in the network, assuming no group of peers holds more than the majority of stake in the system. Then peers can only attain inflation by working to attract votes from the majority, a core assumption in many decentralized systems like Bitcoin. Reintroducing our terms, our incentive mechanism requires a stake vector S and a set of weights, W, where rows are inter-peer rankings. We also infer a trust matrix T from the weights, where T equals 1, and only if there is a non-zero edge between peer I and J. We define peers who have reached consensus as those with non-zero edges from more than 50% of the stake in the network. This is simply the normalized values.
Hey, dickhead, get your mind right. Don't preach to me about my perky habit, bitch, this is my life.
To ensure the mechanism is differentiable, we define this computation using the continuous sigmoid function. The sigmoid produces a threshold-like scaling that rewards connected peers and punishes the non-trusted. The steepness and threshold point can be modulated through a temperature Q and shift term X. Consensus function is this with temperature Q equals 10 and X equals 0.5. The activation takes the trust scores and produces an exponential scaling up to our inflection point where a peer is connected to the majority. We use consensus term to scale the original rankings.